Well, it's December 16th. We were supposed to record on the 15th, and believe it or not, we did. But our producer up there in his little box made a mess of a thing, so we had to start again. So it's December 16th, 2025. And we do have a lot to talk about, but it's going to be a little bit of a different format tonight. Shakai has unfortunately had a death in the family, so we'll be missing him for the night. But we got Canada up there in the booth or in his little cage, and he's going to be trying to hold his end down. So we'll see how that goes for the day. Coming up on the show, we're going to have some Bermuda karting results. We got some information from St. Helena Motocross. We're going to talk a little bit about Larissa Papenmeier and getting her to the Coney Island race next year. Some news about the Island Athlete Development Program, and then we'll wrap it up with Rider of the Week. We have a new Rider of the Week that Shikai's gone out and found us. So let's get into it, shall we? As always, I'm your host, Justin Maley, and unfortunately, like I said, we don't have Shikai tonight, but we do have Canada up there pretending to be a producer, so we'll see how we go. But karting news from Bermuda. I guess the past weekend, Canada, they had the Duke Sowers Memorial Trophy Day, which is race day number 7, and I've got some results from them. I don't have any news. I was supposed to get some information. I know Shikai's been waiting for some news to come out from those guys, so all I can do, best I can do, is reel off some results. L206 seniors, we had Jason Scuzzy North was in first place, David Barbosa was second, Owen DaCosta was third, Mark Tucker was in fourth, and then Will Dunkley came fifth. Tag junior class, we had Tanner Correa. I don't know Tanner, but I'm hoping he's related to Dennis Correa, who is an absolute legend. I worked with him when we developed the track in Bermuda many moons ago. He came and supplied a lot of the equipment, top guy, so hopefully he's related to him. He came first. Jonathan Lindbergh was second. Sire Pedro was third. And then in the KZ Masters, there was Jason DeCudo, which hoping is related to Paul DeCudo, who's an absolute legend and took me out to the nightclub last time I was down there. Second was Ryan Lindo. Third was William Dunkley. And then they had the KZ shifter class with Ryan Burgess first, Ryan Rebello second, Scott Skitchy Barnes third, Blake Horseman fourth, and then David Selly fifth. And then they had the tag senior, which was Scott Skitchy Barnes, took out first. Blake Horseman was second. Ryan Burgess third. Georgia Thomas was fourth, and then Nathan DaCosta came in fifth. Like I said, unfortunately, that's the only information I have from the karting club in Bermuda. But if someone can reach out, then we will talk about you a little bit more in the next podcast. From that, we will skip straight into St. Helena Hill Climb and the Saints Motocross Club. You can find them on Facebook. They are Saints Motocross Club. I did have to get a hold of Canada yesterday to work out how we say Helena, and it's Helena, not Helena. So thanks, Canada. You did something right yesterday. But they are calling all riders and volunteers. They need the support for this year's motocross event. Looks like the event is on the 28th of December, and they're really looking forward to making sure it happens. Apparently, I've heard from the Falkland Islands here, Canada, and many of them have all said that the St. Helena Motocross Club are amazing and organize amazing events. They really rave about the hill climb that they have, which I guess is not a standalone event, but it's like a last event of a day that they have when they have a motocross. So the Falkland Islands, St. Helena Motocross Club, the Falkland Islands are in love with you guys, say you're amazing. And for anyone that wants to know anything that's happening on there, I know that they have some videos on the Saints Motocross Club Facebook page, and you just look it up, Saints Motocross Club. They got some hill climb videos, some motocross shots, all that sort of stuff. The track looks pretty rough and hard pack and dusty, but you got to deal with what you got to deal with when you're on these islands, right? Moving out of that, we go straight into Larissa Papenmeier, and the reason we're talking about Larissa is, first off, she's an absolute legend. I met her way back in 2007 in the ADAC Motocross series. I think the first race I ever met her at was in a place called Kleinau in Germany, and she was battling it out, chasing down Steffi Leia. Steffi Leia, multi-time world champion, absolute legend of the sport. But Larissa was like maybe 15, maybe 16 on a CR125, chasing down Steffi. Um, Short ass little chick, which is funny as heck, but she is one of the true professionals of the sport. Been around forever. She's one of the most consistent and long serving riders in the women's motocross. Um, I guess what I did do, Canada, and you'll appreciate this, is I ran her information through ChatGPT and told ChatGPT to give me a summary of Larissa, and it came up with a whole bunch of stuff that's probably about 95% correct, but she's been competitive at the top level of the FIM women's motocross for well over a decade. She won Torchental GP last year, which is, I guess, her home GP. It was muddy, and short people don't usually do very well in the mud, so she did an amazing job. Multiple WMX season podiums at the world level. Grand Prix wins all over the place. I think she has 10 German national motocross championships. So she's fairly dominant at home. And the thing that I really like about Larissa is she's kind of a go-getter when it comes to her race team. Please, she's on the SYE Honda racing team, 423, and it's kind of her own team, but she's not just out about us supporting herself. She's the brains and the brawn behind the team, and she's supporting other riders. She's always supported other riders and had junior riders and other pros on her team. She represents longevity over hype, work ethic over flash, and staying competitive without a silver spoon. She's spoken about having to have a day job because she doesn't make enough money to go racing, and hopefully we can change that, or at least help her change that, where these women that are out there racing and doing the best they can and being professional and providing a show can actually get paid for it. It's not ever going to be MXGP levels or AMA motocross levels, but it'll be nice to see them not have to have a day job, and when they're putting themselves at risk. Canada, I'm not sure if I told you, but I used to train a lot of the women motocrossers and pro athletes over here. I worked with Sarah Whitmore, Tatum Sick, top level riders, Stephanie Cancilla up in Northern California, and all that sort of stuff. And there was almost always this rider that went to the track, and she had a brand new bike, brand new truck, and she was sitting. She would just sit in the back of the truck the whole time. I never actually saw her out on the track. She had brand new gear on, brand new boots on, brand new bike, brand new truck, rolled up to the nines, like makeup all over her, everything. And she just sat there in the back of the truck doing like Instagram selfies and going over and talking to the pro motocross guys and stuff like that. And like I said, she was always at the track, never turned a wheel. I don't know. She claimed on Instagram to be a professional motocross rider, but I've never actually seen her ride. And I know I've been to a bunch of pro races and never seen her turn a wheel, never even seen her show up. But that's that's the difference between the European riders and a lot of the, I'm not going to say all American riders, but a lot of the American riders is the Americans tend to be more about flash and less substance. And the WMX riders, when you go to Europe, those girls, they're out there to ride. They're out there to get dirty and win races. So that's what I always appreciate about Larissa is, she's 30 plus years old and still out there competitive, still winning races, winning championships. Another one of my all-time favorites is up there in Sweden. We'll talk about her later on, but she's up there in Sweden. She's an Irish rider, and she's always, you know, still competitive. Just had a baby maybe a year ago, and back to winning championships. So, Natalie Kane, we're coming for you. We'll have you on next podcast, or we'll be talking about you at least. So you can either tell us some information, or we'll talk some shit about you. The other thing about Larissa is Shikai has basically said that we're going to sponsor Larissa to go to Coney Island. So, um, Coney Island next year, Larissa Papenmeier. Shikai's already doubled down on it. At least he told me he did. So he's going to make sure that we raise enough funds and get a bike organised for Larissa to go to Coney Island, and we'll take it from there. We'll see you at Coney Island next year, Larissa. Canada, you're kind of quiet over there. You got anything to say, bud?
Oh, not much. I'm just following along and looking up
Okay.
results.
Okay, that's what you get paid for. Just keep following along. Um, Skipping straight out of Larissa, we'll go straight to the Island Athlete Development Program. So this is something that we're pretty excited on. Shakai and I have been talking about this for a long time. The development program has always just been to help riders. It started out as just helping riders from Bermuda, but it's transitioned really quickly. We've got the first round of shirts that are at the printer right now, and they'll be shipping out to everyone that bought some of them. I think you bought two of them, Canada, and Ricky Johnson bought some, and we've got a lot of riders and a lot of people in Bermuda that have bought the shirts and are waiting for them to show up. I don't think they're going to get them before Christmas. That was kind of the hope, but with the shipping time and the print time and all that sort of stuff, we're probably just going to miss that. So they are on the way. Sponsors are coming on board, and we'll discuss efforts in the committee meeting with that this week. Hopefully, everyone that's kind of bought a package to be on the committee, they get to have a vote in what we do, how we do it. It's not just hey, give us some money and we'll take a rider racing. It's how do we make this long? How do we make this live? Many moons and many years, and what's the next rider going to look like, and what event are we taking them to? And anyone that's a part of the committee will get a vote on that. I think you're going to be part of the committee there, Canada, because you bought two shirts, and Ricky Johnson's obviously a part of the committee. So, we're going to work out where this money goes to. The first rider is Tino Tucker Wall from Bermuda. He's going to be doing the RCSX next year. We have some special stuff going on, and I'll tell you about that in an upcoming thing because it's kind of under wraps for a little while. But he's the first rider, hopefully, of many. I do have about 10 resumes sitting in my email waiting for the next ride to come along, and who that's going to be. Um, Kind of leaning towards a rider from Goso right now. So that might be a race in Canada. It might be a race in the US, or, maybe we can get young Leslie Dixon up from the Falkland Islands to come up and do a race up here, or maybe even get his dream to come true of going over and racing the Welsh Enduro. I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to do something. We're going to make it happen. And then at the end of every year, the plan is that the bike that was used will come available to one of the riders. So we'll talk about that. There will be a GoFundMe set up this week. It'll go live this week. And if you don't want to buy a t-shirt, or you don't want to buy a package to be a part of the committee, then you can just $5, $2, $10, whatever it is, into the GoFundMe, and help us make these factory rider for a day dreams come true. The goal on that is going to be pretty low. And here's the thing, Canada, and I know you'll appreciate this. There was some absolute racist shitbag in Wisconsin that just got fired for being a racist, and some horrible people got together, and they raised $150,000 for this now jobless, racist pile of shit human being. If someone can raise $150,000 for being an absolute racist pile of crap person, then we should be able to raise a little bit of money to get some underprivileged kids to go racing. What do you think, Canada?
Kids with dreams over racist pieces of crap. I'm for it.
Yep. Yep, me too. I'm all about it, and I'm going to point that out as many times as I can. If the world is going that horribly that we need to raise money for racists, then we just need to help the world instead of tearing it down. And you want to be a racist, go be a racist, but don't expect me to give you some money. I'm going to go all in and make sure some people get to go racing and live their dreams. Rider of the Week. So, Rider of the Week was sent to us from Shikai. It's a Bermudian rider. His name is Micah Alves, and I believe he is the nephew of Chris Alves. Now, Canada, you'll dig this. In 2009, I believe it was, there was a Canadian friend of mine named Tim Marks, Titan, and he organised some riders to go over and do the last supermoto or road race of the year. And I got sent over, and Chris Alves was going to line me up with one of his bikes, but we got there and it was just no saving it. So he actually let me race his bike, no practice, no warm up, no nothing. Never had sat on the bike before. He let me race his bike in the first moto. Um, I went ahead and won that moto, but he had to ride it in the second moto because he had to kind of defend where he was at in the points. I don't remember where he was, but absolute legend of a human being, Chris Elves. So, Micah, I'm assuming you're his nephew or related to him. Tell him he's a legend, great guy, did me a great service, let me ride his bike even when he didn't have to. So that was awesome. But today's rider of the week is Micah Alves. He's with the Bermuda Motocross Association. He's been riding since he was 5. He's the current points leader. I believe he's the current points leader in the novice class. And one of the things that I like about him is he's given a shout out to his mum and dad. Obviously, everyone's got to give a shout out to, well, most people have to give a shout out to their mum and dad. Clear choice doors, windows, and glass in Bermuda, mass limited, perfect pass world, and then the Crawl gas station, which I believe is between Shelley Bay Pizza and Mamma Mia restaurant on the North Shore, just south of Coney Island. I think I actually bought a chocolate bar and a drink from there. In Bermuda, it probably cost me $30, but I bought a chocolate bar and a drink from the Crawl gas station way back in the day, but they support young Micah, Red Laser, and then Elite Fitness in Hamilton, and then Belvins. I apologize, I don't know what Belvins is. Did you get a chance to look up what Belvins is in Bermuda there, Canada?
I have no clue.
And I knew you didn't. I was just throwing you under the bus. I knew you had no clue.
I can check it out though.
No, no, that's fine. They know who they are. And anyone in Bermuda, if you need something from Belvins, make sure you go see Belvins. Um, Again, this today was going to be a short one, and I think we're going to wrap it up super quick time, Canada. There's not a lot left to say. I know Shikai has a notebook full of stuff. It's probably laying under his bed or under his counter or on the floor of his truck, but I know he had a whole bunch to talk about. Cuba motocross associations and clubs or whatever they got going on there, they've been starting to reach out to me, and I'm really stoked to hear from those guys. They look like they're just, building whatever they can to go racing and having fun going racing. So I sent some videos. I think I sent some to you, Canada, and I sent some over to Shikai, and I sent some to my friends in Africa, and I sent one to RJ, and everyone's just absolutely loving what the community, the Cubans have going on over there. Slowly letting information go out into the world, and we're slowly getting information come back. So, if you want to be a part of the podcast, then just best way to get a hold of us. How's the best way to get a hold of us, Canada?
Check us out on Instagram, any of the socials. It's always Island Torque.
Yep.
You could probably tell how to spell it because I know how to say it properly. But yeah, and by the way, Belvin's Variety is a variety store, so yeah, there's that too.
There you go, Belvin's Variety Store. So if you need some variety, go down to Belvin's in Bermuda. So little shout out to them. But yeah, Canada is 100% correct. The best way, absolute hands down, best way to get a hold of us is on Instagram. The handle is island dot, but let's do it the American way or Canadian way, Torque.
Yeah.
Get a hold of us at Island Torque. So it's island.torque, TORQUE. So that's the best way to get a hold of us. Send us some information. We are getting to release a new podcast series. I've told you about this one, Canada, and Shikai. It's the Island Talking Heads, so like the Easter Island Heads. So like Dum Dum off that movie. What's that movie? Night at the Museum?
Yeah. Yep. Dum Dum, you give me
So,
gum.
Yeah, that's him. So we're going to do Island Talking Heads, and we're looking for people to come on. We've got Shanice Sim down in the Falklands. She's looking for someone to come on, and we'll do an interview. We'll have Larissa on here. We'll have Natalie Kane on at some point. They don't know that yet, but we're going to do it, whether they like it or not. Otherwise, if they don't come on, Canada, you've got to put on a voice and pretend to be one of them, and we'll just talk some shit anyway. But they will be on here somehow, some way. Ricky Johnson's going to be on here, so just be aware of that. It's not going to be super in depth. It's just going to be people giving us some information. We're looking for people from the Gozo, St. Helena, Shetland Islands, Malta, Sicily, New Zealand. Yeah, if it's on an island and you do a motorsport on there, hopefully we can get Skitchy Barnes on at some point. But we want to hear about it. And the other thing that I know he's super busy, but Jai Mitchell, he's putting together the Coney Island race right now, and he's absolutely swamped. Hopefully, we'll get him on before the Coney Island race, but if not, then definitely after to tell us what's going on. But that's going to be on that specific series. It'll be Island Talk, and it'll be Island Talking Heads. So we will see how that goes. If you need to get us some information, get a hold of us on Instagram, like we said. But have you got anything you want to wrap up with, Canada, before we finish this short show?
No, I think you got everything covered. Just to pump up Belvin's a little bit more, they got a deal on beer: a 3 for $5, 6-pack for $10, and a case for $35.
All right. As soon as we get off this, I'm going to WhatsApp Shakai and tell him to get his ass down to Belvin's and get some beer and pizza.
There you go.
So find Belvin's on Instagram. If they're on Instagram, we're going to tag them and let them know that we're out there. When I get over there the next time, I'm dropping into Belvin's and getting some pizza, beer, and all that sort of stuff. So I guess if there's nothing else to add, until next time, wherever you are across the islands, keep riding, keep representing, keep uniting, and we'll catch you next week in the next round. Have a good night. It's good night from me, and it's good night from...
Cheers, everybody. Good night from me.
Thank you. We'll catch you in the next one.